Welcome back to The Explainer. If you're the kind of person who really wants to understand exactly how your body works on a microscopic level, well, you are in the exact right place today. We're taking a really fascinating dive deep into the mechanisms of vitamin B1. We're going to explore the cutting-edge biochemistry of three distinct forms: standard thiamine, benfotiamine, and TTFD, and we'll see exactly how they unlock your cellular energy.
But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever tried taking a high-dose B-complex vitamin because you're dealing with chronic fatigue or brain fog or maybe some stubborn nerve issues, only to feel absolutely nothing? If you've dealt with that frustration, trust me, you are definitely not alone. And the thing is, it's not because the vitamin itself doesn't work. It actually all comes down to a massive biological roadblock right in your digestive system.
Okay, here is the staggering truth about standard vitamin B1. When you swallow a high oral dose of normal thiamine, your cellular absorption completely hits a brick wall at just 5 to 10 milligrams. That's it. The vast majority of that expensive supplement you bought is simply left unabsorbed in your gut, and it's literally flushed right down the drain in your urine. You just aren't getting the cellular energy you paid for.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap to solving this absorption mystery. Number 1, the vitamin B1 bottleneck. Number 2, mechanisms of the upgrades. Number 3, benfotiamine, the peripheral protector. Number 4, TTFD, the brain barrier breaker. And finally, number 5, which B1 is right?
Part 1, the vitamin B1 bottleneck. Why normal thiamine gets stuck at the door.
So thiamine, which you probably just know as vitamin B1, is an essential water-soluble nutrient. You can kind of think of it as the spark plug for your metabolism. It acts as a critical coenzyme, and it operates the rate-limiting enzymes inside your mitochondria, specifically something called the pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. Simply put, without thiamine, your cells literally cannot efficiently convert the carbs you eat into ATP, which is the universal energy currency of your cells. But there's a massive structural flaw here.
You see, standard thiamine is highly hydrophilic. Basically, it's a water-soluble molecule that carries a positive charge. And because your cell membranes are made of fats or lipids, this charged molecule can't just float on inside. It relies entirely on these specialized active transport proteins in the intestines called THTR1 and THTR2. Now, I want you to picture these proteins as incredibly strict club bouncers. They only let a tiny, slow trickle of B1 molecules through the door at a time. Once those bouncers are busy, the door is closed. Bam. That creates a huge biological bottleneck. So the question is, how do we get around the bouncers?
Which brings us to Part 2, mechanisms of the upgrades, bypassing the bouncers with lipid-soluble science. Now, what's absolutely brilliant here is how pharmaceutical science actually hacked the chemistry of the vitamin. Take benfotiamine, for example. By adding a lipophilic group, it becomes an SACyl fat-soluble derivative. This allows it to completely bypass those active transport bouncers right after a quick enzyme reaction in your gut. Then you have TTFD, which is a disulfide derivative. Scientists actually figured out how to open the thiamine ring, making it completely uncharged. That open ring allows TTFD to passively diffuse straight across those lipid cell membranes. So both of these upgraded forms sneak right past the bottleneck.
Let's move to Part 3, benfotiamine, the peripheral protector, flooding the body, blood vessels, and nerves.
You have to see this clinical data. Compared to just standard thiamine, benfotiamine doesn't just give you a tiny little bump. It creates a plasma concentration that is 8 times higher. But here's the absolutely crucial part. It doesn't just float around uselessly in your blood. Research shows that the active coenzyme levels inside your red blood cells actually shoot up by nearly 400%. It successfully penetrates the cell membrane right where it's desperately needed to fire up your metabolism.
So once it gets inside, benfotiamine acts as an absolute powerhouse for your peripheral tissues. It hyperactivates an enzyme called transketolase by up to 4-fold. And why does that matter? Well, it effectively starves the formation of toxic advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. Those are harmful molecules created when excess sugars damage your tissues. By silencing inflammatory alarms like NF-kappa B, benfotiamine is incredibly effective for things like diabetic peripheral neuropathy, general nerve pain, and protecting the super fragile blood vessels in your retinas and kidneys. It literally disarms toxic sugars right inside your body's tissues.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Part 4, TTFD, the brain barrier breaker, sneaking directly into the central nervous system.
I love how the scientific literature describes TTFD's mechanism. They use this brilliant metaphor, stating that TTFD employs a Trojan horse strategy to overcome the bottleneck. Because it's this uncharged, highly lipophilic molecule. It doesn't just stop at the blood. It slips right past the super strict blood-brain barrier as if it were completely invisible to the body's defenses.
And here is the really fascinating 1, 2, 3 biochemical breakdown of that Trojan horse trick. Step 1. The uncharged TTFD molecule diffuses effortlessly right across the fatty lipid cell membrane. Step 2. Once it's inside the cell, a powerful antioxidant called glutathione snaps the disulfide bond, kind of like tripping a wire. Step 3. The thiazolium rings spontaneously snap shut, reforming into active free thiamine. So the nutrient is now physically trapped inside the cell, delivering this high-velocity energy directly to the mitochondria.
Because TTFD is so exceptionally good at penetrating deep into the brain and your nervous tissue, its therapeutic checklist looks quite a bit different from benfotiamine. If you're someone trying to recover from post-viral profound fatigue, long COVID, or really severe brain fog, TTFD is engineered to specifically fuel the central and autonomic nervous systems. It's actually even been shown to stimulate the enteric neurons in your gut, improving motility for stubborn issues like SIBO and constipation. It's targeting those deep neurological systems that standard vitamins just frankly cannot reach.
Now, actually, quick pause here. There is a surprising and really crucial safety fact you need to be aware of. When TTFD breaks open inside the cell, it releases a sulfur-containing mercaptan byproduct. Now, while this is actually fantastic for helping the body detoxify heavy metals like arsenic, it means you need to proceed with caution if you have a specific genetic profile, like a CBS gene mutation. That mutation can make you highly sensitive to sulfur buildup. So, as always, listen to your body and make sure you're working with a practitioner.
All right, part 5. Which B1 is right? Matching the mechanism to your health goals. Let's bring it all together. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we've been talking about. You might honestly want to grab a screenshot of this table. Standard diamine relies on that active transport, making it totally fine for just minor deficiencies and general daily maintenance. Benfotiamine uses passive diffusion to flood your peripheral nerves and your blood vessels, making it the absolute champion for combating diabetic neuropathy and toxic sugars. And then TTFD uses its diside Trojan horse to penetrate the brain and autonomic nerves, making it the premier choice for severe fatigue, brain fog, and dysautonomia.
So as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a final, provocative question. Before you ever reach for generic B-complex bottle again, ask yourself, what do your cells actually need right now? Are you looking to protect your peripheral nerves from metabolic stress, or do you desperately need to break through that brain fog and reignite your central nervous system? Understanding these underlying biochemical mechanisms empowers you to stop just flushing your vitamins down the drain and start truly unlocking your cellular energy. Thanks so much for diving into this with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.